Welcome back to the Watchtower. Today we have a report on a woman in her late 30s who wants to be married, who wants to have kids, but she feels like it's too late. She feels like she's been betrayed by the feminism movement. Let's jump into it.
For whatever reason, this article really resonated with people. But, when I wrote it, I was truly terrified. Like, I wrote a lot of that. It gets me choked up now.
Uh-oh. It's all right. Come on. Let's go. Continue. You can do it.
I wrote a lot of that article, like, truly scared. Like, I really did think, like, wow, you've missed your opportunity. Like, you are going to be alone. You're not going to have a family. Like, I was really scared when I wrote that. Like, that's exactly how I felt. And when I got comments um after that article was published, like I said, there was hundreds of guys emailing me, texting me, LinkedIn messaging me, commenting on the post saying, "You're selfish, you missed out. Um, you could have had all that. You've picked your career." I mean, calling me horrible things. I mean, it was awful. I sat in bed.
Bruh. Oh my gosh. So she posts this whole video thinking she's gonna get like all this support and shit, and like, oh man, yeah, that's so rough, that's so hard. All of a sudden, all the guys like show up in the comments, start flaming the hell out of her. Oh man.
Reading these comments, and I was like, oh my God, you know, they're right. And they're not totally right. I don't think I'm a horrible, selfish person for not wanting to have children in my 20s and not wanting, to have children during that marriage. Um, but but it did scare me because a lot of what they were saying, they were like, you've been very selfish your whole life. And that's what I heard over and over again.
Let me just pause right there. I don't really see an issue with women who don't want to have kids. If you don't want to have kids and you want to do the whole career thing and professional career and that's like all you want to focus on, that's okay if that's what you want to do and that's what you're going to be happy with doing. Where I have a problem is when, women go down this route and they end up realizing, oh, I'm so unhappy, I feel so depressed, and then it kind of creates a problem for everyone else. Instead of just listening to what we're trying to tell them and what guys are trying to say, which is that focusing on having a family is probably going to be what brings you the most happiness and sense of purpose and fulfillment. It's not going to be the career. The only reason we need careers and jobs and all these things is to actually make money so that we can support our lives and our families. So I don't have an issue, and I don't think that there's a problem with women who don't want to have kids. If you don't want to have kids, don't have kids, but stick by your choice and don't make videos like these where you're almost 40 years old and now you're complaining about the fact you don't have kids. Well, it's like, well, you didn't prioritize that. So make your choice and stick by it and stick with it.
And that's actually the next thing that I wrote that I think will be coming out soon is I got all these horrible comments from men telling me I had missed my chance and that I, had was a stupid feminist who was focused on myself, which I thought was interesting because, like I said, I don't consider myself a feminist at all. But that it did get me thinking, and I did write an article that I think will come out soon about the downfall of living a selfish, me focused life, And it does, I mean, for me, it's definitely started to feel hollow and meaningless.
Yeah. Again, so it's like, yeah, if you that's the path you want to take, if you want the path of where you're just focused on yourself, that's okay. No one, I'm a someone who believes in like individualism, right? You take your path as long as you're not breaking any laws or you're not, doing anything to hurt someone else. If you want to go down this path, then go down it. But take accountability for it, own it, and don't complain about later when you don't have the results that you want to have. Because when she was in her early 20s, I'm sure there's plenty of people telling her, hey, you should have kids. You should have kids before it's too late. You should have kids before, by the time she hits 30. Hey, you should probably have kids if you want to have kids. And she's over here, no, I don't want to have kids. I want my own career. I'm going to be a boss babe. I'm going to run the corporate world. And now she's in this position instead of listening to the people who were right, who knew what was coming.
It's taken me to this point in my life to realize that that's not a life that's going to bring you happiness. I mean, and maybe it does for some people. I honestly have a hard time believing that. If I thought I would spend the rest of my life alone, if I didn't think that I would get married and have children, I would be devastated.
So yeah, I think she's right. I think for most people, I agree with this 100%. Most people will find happiness in having children and having a family as opposed to just continuing your life living by yourself or not having kids. However, that's not to say there aren't some people who have a different way of life, who have a different perspective and have a different calling, which may not include kids, right? That's not to say that everyone needs to have kids, but I think most human beings will find the sort of highest sense of fulfillment and quote unquote happiness, right? Happiness is just a feeling, but they'll find the highest sense of fulfillment long term over their lifespan by raising children, right? That's kind of what we're here to do. So I agree with you on that point.
So I don't know. It is such a me focused culture right now. It really is. And I just think a lot of us are missing out, and I certainly have felt like that the last year and a half. And I thank God that I realized it in time, because I don't want to wake up at, 60 by myself and go, well, I had a lot of fun. you know, it's like I want to wake up 60 next to the love of my life, raising a family, doing the things that are really important and the things that really matter.
Okay, well, it would have been nice for you to actually realize that, 10 years ago. Like, come on. It's like how are we having this realization in our late 30s? How are we not understanding this earlier on? And the only thing I can think of is, there really is this movement, this idea and this agenda that I really believe is being actively pushed to brainwash and convince women that this is the path to go. That going down the road of having kids younger and getting married and or having a husband or whatever is not the way to go. And it's not only reinforced and backed by the government's assistance and pushing them in that direction, but also reinforced by the social fabric within society. And so I think this is really what's going on, because if you think about the natural tendency, it is to have kids when you're on the younger side. It's not to wait till you're 40 years old. It's not to wait till you're 40, 50 years old to try to start having kids. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So I think there's an active campaign. I think there's an active agenda to make this happen.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna be on your deathbed one day and look back and go, I wish I went to more parties,
Facts.
or
Facts.
spent more, time shopping. It's like, you're
Yep.
gonna look back and say, oh my God, like this person I created was someone I loved. And, that's gonna be the thing that's meaningful. So I feel unbelievably betrayed by feminism. And I don't want to put it on the movement, because I believe you make your own choices. And everything I've done leading up to this point in my life has been my choice, and that's on me. But when I was a little girl, it was like, and to be fair, I think this partly comes from coming from a divorced family and seeing my mom.
Oh, what do we say? It's always about what you see. What do you grow up around? What do you see? What do you see people? How do you see people acting, right? If you grow up in a family that's divided, that's got people who are divorced, you got step parents, you got freaking people coming in and out here and there. What does that teach you as a person? What does that teach you about family? What does that teach you about raising children? Not good things. It's not a good example. And this is another huge problem within our society, and why it's freaking collapsing is because all these kids are not being raised, including myself, in a family unit, in a household that's actually makes sense. It's so crazy. It's so chaotic. Everybody's all over the place. People are divorced. You have no good examples to follow as to what to do. So it's no surprise that people end up in this situation.
Kind of handle a lot. I mean, I just saw a woman take care of a lot. But I was constantly fed this idea that women can do everything. We don't really need men. Women can have the great career and have the kids that they like and change the tires and do this. I mean, I grew up thinking, and men are great, but like I can do all the same things. Like I really I do feel in many ways betrayed by that line of thinking. And I got that from so many of the women in my life too. I mean, like I said, I do come from a very traditional family. So I wouldn't say so much from family, but just a lot of like the older women in my life. I kind of want to go back to some of those teachers and coaches and say, what the hell did you mean by that? Because women can't do it all. We can't. Such a lie. I mean,
So that's the end of the video, and she literally just explained what I said earlier about how not only is this pushed as an agenda from, the government and these higher up corporations and things, but also the social fabric, your mom, your grandmother, your aunt, your cousins or whatever. Oh yeah, we can do everything men can do. You don't really need men. It's just nice to have maybe if you need it. You know what I mean? And this whole idea that, you can you can have kids and have the high end career and all these things. And there are a lot of people who manage and juggle both. But really, how much time can you spend raising a family while working full time? I mean, probably not going to do such a good job. I want to scroll down real quick and just see like what are some of these comments. This lady says working and parenting is absolutely exhausting together. I have a degree in civil engineering and the norm was 60 hours a week. More if there were deadlines. There's no way to balance a family without help somehow. Right. So yeah, people saying, working 60 hours a week, how do you actually take care of a family and raise children if, both of you are working that much? Feminism isn't about foregoing marriage and children. It is about women having choices in life, not just being slotted into popping out babies and waiting on a husband. If a couple decides one of them should be the main earner and the other the homemaker full time and care for the children, that can easily be the man after the first few weeks of an infant's life, freeing him from society's expectations, same as it does his wife. It's really about equal opportunity to make the life you choose. So it seems like a lot of people in these comments right now are kind of like blue pillars basically defending feminism. That's what it seems like. That's what I'm kind of getting the vibe is all these people underneath are, number one, telling her take accountability, number one, but also telling her like stop blaming the movement of feminism on it. And on one hand, I agree with the accountability because those are the choices she made. But at the same time, I have to look at the feminism movement and say, how much further is this going to go? How much more? We are way past the point of equal rights at this point with the amount of aid that women get from the government and in terms of pushing them in careers and schools. It's like we are past the point of equal rights. If it's about equal rights, then why are we still going down this road of basically ignoring men's problems and continuing to push women forward? You know what I mean? I think it's definitely, I think we've way past reached the point of equal rights at this point. And I think, like I said, there is an actual agenda and path that's being that women are being convinced that they should go down. It's not just like, oh, here's your two options, go career or start a family. By the way, you're more likely to be happy if you choose, starting a family now and then maybe doing a career later or something. No, 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 no. It's do the career now. Here's all the aid you need to go to school to get into these, professional sort of environments. And there's an active push that are moving women in that direction. And if you look at it, it makes complete sense because that's how they're going to make the most money off of it. They're not going to make the most money off of it by telling most women to go start families while they're young. They're going to make the most women by putting them through college, getting them in debt, then having them working for corporations so that they can tax them, right? So it just makes perfect sense. And I think that the feminism movement is definitely out of hand at this point. Again, someone else saying feminism never said that you couldn't get married or have a family. It only said that a choice, not mandatory, that one could. Feminism is about having the same choices and opportunities as men, to be valued, respected, and treated equally for who you are and your gifts, abilities, not just your body outside no one's ability to carry a child. Right. Okay. So all these people in these comments are blue pilled as fuck, and they're still focused on defending the feminist movement, which, like I said, we've gone way past the point of equality. We're way past the point of equality right now. So I'm not sure what the heck their deal is or what they're talking about. Then we got another one here. Feminism has never been about rejecting men, children, and or family. It's about women having choices, opportunities, equality in education, careers, control over their bodies. Basically, feminism has helped us level up with men so we can go forward with true partnerships. Oh my gosh, dude. So level up with average men. Women will not be interested in average level men and will seek higher level men. Facts. That's exactly what we're seeing right now in the dating market. This guy totally gets it. Commenter underneath, I disagree. So many times I see women settling for men who are not their equals. So we're going to take your anecdotal experience of some people that you've seen who you think are not equal to each other over the statistics of over half of men being single. Okay. No woman should settle for any man that she doesn't love with all her heart. Okay, yeah. This is the most blue-pilled comment section ever. I got to get the hell out of here. Let's jump over to so this is the article that she was referencing that she wrote, I guess. I'm 38 and single. I've recently realized I want a child. I'm terrified I've missed my opportunity. So, let's scroll down and see kind of what's going on here. So So 20, kitchen countertop. He was 21. We've been dating for nearly 2 years and we're at a standstill. I was clinging to my dream of moving 5 hours away to attend the design program at the Art Institute of Seattle. He wanted a simple life with children and home cooked meals in the little resort town of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where we met in sixth grade. Okay, so apparently she had an opportunity here years and years and years, many years ago, with this guy who was 21. She was 20. They've been dating for 2 years and they've known each other since sixth grade. It sounds like he wanted a simple life with children. He wanted her to be a stay-at-home wife, basically. So that day in the kitchen, we decided to stay together, and we each gave up something to do that. I would no longer pursue design school in the big city life I'd always dreamed of, and he'd forego having children and a wife who prioritized home. What? I made it clear to him that I did not see motherhood in my future and that he needed to be okay with that. 2 years later, we married. Oh my God. She wanted to go to the city. She wanted to go down the career path, professional designer, all this kind of crap. He wanted her to stay at home and prioritize homemaking. Okay, and she didn't want kids, but he wanted kids. Right there is just, it's over. It's over. If somebody does not want kids and you want kids, that's incompatible. There's no way to really make that work. You know what I mean? It's over. So the fact that he compromised, and this is where a lot of guys go wrong, the fact that he compromised on something, as you know, it's one thing if you compromise on a job or a location in order to move somewhere where the other person wants, but like a fundamental value of you want kids and you want a woman to take care of those kids and be a stay-at-home mom, that is non-negotiable, bruh. That's non-negotiable. So now they both compromised and she's not getting what she wants because she can't do her design school big city life, and he's not getting what he wants, which is, to actually have kids. So it's like right there, she had the opportunity and she didn't want it. And then he compromises and basically follows her lead, which is just, you never do that. Never compromise on these types of things, because you think in your mind, you think if you're in a relationship that if you compromise on something that is a core belief or a fundamental value, that she will be happier with you because you've done that. But what actually happens is she now doesn't respect you. She loses respect for you because you've given up your core values. You've given up what you really wanted. And so now she doesn't respect you because it's a sign of it's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of not standing for what you believe. And so now she loses respect for you. And let's keep going. Let's see what happens. So now my now ex-husband wanted kids and a stay-at-home wife. My husband thought I'd change, and I thought I could change for him. I told myself I was silly to go after my dreams and that I should be content in a pretty mountain town where I grew up. Well, right, but yeah, if she hadn't gone after her dreams of being in the professional world and had instead stayed in this little town with him and actually had kids and actually had something to do and a project to work on, then it could have maybe worked if she had followed his lead of what he wanted to do. But now they're basically both sitting in this little town and neither of them are getting what they want. So I'm not sure how the hell this is supposed to work out. But I grew resentful. Yep, see? She's growing resentful. So she's growing resentful because he compromised on what he wanted and his core beliefs. So now she loses respect for him, right? And now on top of it, she's not able to go do what she quote unquote wanted to do, of living this, high life, this big city life where she's chasing her career dreams. So I grew resentful when he asked where dinner was or complained about his gym clothes hadn't been washed. I did little to hide my disdain for our small town life. He was a good and hardworking man, but I don't think I made him feel that way. We were young, foolish, and sweet. I think our love allowed us to overcome differences. We were very wrong. Shortly after I turned 30, we divorced. We were both tired of sacrificing the things that were important to us for each other. This is why it's so important that you are on the same page with the woman that you were with or the man that you were with. Shortly after I turned 30, we divorced. We were both tired of sacrificing the things that we wanted for each other. They could have freaking saved themselves almost a decade of time if they, from the beginning, if the guy had said, hey, no, I want kids, I want a stay-at-home wife, that is what it's going to be, take it or leave it. And then she could either say, yep, I'm on board with that, or nope, I'm going to go to the big city and pursue my dreams. Done deal. It would have been over. And this would have probably never happened because they would have been in that small town enjoying life. She would have had kids. She would have realized what a joy it is to be able to raise a family. And he would have been providing for the situation. And at least one of them would have gotten something that they wanted. But instead, they spent a decade together going in different. They spent a decade together basically for no reason. They had nothing in common, no common project they were working towards. So it's just so sad to see because like literally a decade of time wasted. And then a divorce happens. And it's just like, we knew that this was essentially going to happen 10 years ago, but the guy, decided to basically compromise on his thing, which, oh man, this is just sad. So I didn't think I want to get married again or have kids. I told my friends and family I never married again. I need independence, a fulfilling career, and a space to chart my own course. Right. So look, at 30 years old, almost 10 years later, she's still stuck on this, independence, fulfilling career, and a space to chart my. She's still stuck on this because she never got it out of her system. She never got to go and experience this. So she's still stuck in it. It was still in the back of her mind. Now, think of it this way. What if the guy had stood steadfast on what he wanted and she made the compromise? Okay, I'm going to have kids. I'll be a stay at home mom. They do that maybe for 5 years. She's now 25. He's 26, whatever. Then she says, hey, I want to actually, the kids are growing up now. They're enough to where, maybe someone can either take care of them or whatever. I want to go now do this career thing. At least at that point, you've actually accomplished something in terms of you have a family, you have kids, then you can go do it. But now, now she's too old. She's getting too old to the point to be able to have kids, and she hasn't had the career yet. Oh my God. So I was content to look towards the future without a husband, children, or trappings of traditional life. I was also in no hurry to get into a serious relationship. So, right. Nevertheless, months later, I stumbled into one that lasted 7.5 years. So within months, she found another relationship. Not a surprise. It lasted 7.5 years. Okay, let's see if she did anything different in this relationship. He was significantly older. Okay, she's dating up. Wasn't interested in marriage or children. Okay, so he wasn't interested. He didn't want kids. So she found someone that she aligned with. Okay, cool. We were focused on our careers. We expected little of each other aside from fidelity. We took trips, drank nice wine, stayed out late. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Without the expectations of duties of shared mortgage or family, we simply enjoyed our time together. When we were apart, we did our own things. It was great, easy years. Yeah. It was incredibly healing. Ironically, I started to become the woman my ex-husband had wanted. Wow, bro. I enjoyed cooking, cleaning, and caring for someone who was my choice when I wasn't asked for me. I was so preoccupied with preserving my independence and caring for myself that I didn't realize how much. Wow. I changed my mind about wanting to build a family. Oh my God, dude. I started to think I want more easy, aimless relationship. Right. So right here you can see I started to think I wanted more than an easy, aimless relationship. So when you're in a relationship and everything is just easy, you're going on trips, vacation, everything seems to be working fine. Women really do like that up and down. They like that the emotional roller coaster. And if it gets too easy, I think this happens probably for both people. You need some sort of challenge. You need something that you have to work towards to overcome. You need a project that you can work on to really bond closer. And so this life of not having any family, not having any children to work on, not having a bigger project that you're working on, not building anything, it's like, what the point? What are we doing together? We're just basically hanging out, and you know what I mean? And then eventually people get bored of that. People will get bored of that. Just like if you retire and you're just constantly traveling and you're on the beach, eventually you're going to get bored of that. You're going to want to do something meaningful. So I realized I wanted to build a life from the ground up with someone who wanted the same thing. And while I knew that might take more work, it also felt like a type of connection worth pursuing. Restless, I couldn't ignore what I wanted, and that changed. We were technically divorced, but autonomy was no longer. I felt like I had run its course. He's a wonderful man, and we're still close, but we entered our relationship without intention or shared vision. We broke up shortly after my 37th birthday. Oh my God. The flip-flopping. Oh my God. So the guy in this situation, the guy was actually steadfast on what he wanted. He wasn't going to compromise on the kids. So that guy actually knew what he was doing. He was actually steadfast and not compromising on his core values, which the other guy should have been the same way. Her earlier boyfriend or husband or whatever, he should have had that same sort of, I'm not compromising on this. This is my core values. If you don't like it, you can leave and I'll go find some other woman. So they broke up 37. Over the following year and a half, I dated around for the first time. I broke hearts, had my own heart broken. Oh my God. So now she's just sleeping around it. Oh my God, dude. I was learning what I wanted and needed in a relationship. Stop the cap right now. I began to feel an incredible urgency to find the relationship stability. Yeah, well, you had it 10 years ago, but you threw it in the trash. Marriage, children, hardly. I also began to feel selfish for spending so much time focused only on myself. I went from proudly proclaiming shallow. I worry I'll end up alone, but I'm still hopeful. Now, months in, after that realization, and 39. Damn, she's 39 now. She's 39 and she wants kids. What are we doing? I feel panicked, thinking I'll be single, childless, middle-aged woman. You already are. I worry that my youthful looks will fade. They already are. And I won't be able to attract the man I want to spend with my life. Well, at the age of 39, your choices are really going to get limited in terms of who you can have. So you're not going to be able to be picky anymore. See, when she was in her younger years and she had, all the beauty and the youth and fertility, she could have been a lot more picky about who she chose to have kids with. But now she's 40. And while there are, yes, there's plenty of guys out there who will marry her or get with her and have kids, they're probably not going to be necessarily the guys that she wants, right? And so this is the problem, is now she's going to be locked into having to overcome her hypergamy, which is going to be really difficult. So if I sound desperate, it's because I honestly do feel a little desperate at my age. I know that creating life might be an option for me, and I worry that men who want a family aren't looking for women pushing 40. They aren't. Most men are not. They're not looking for 40-year-old woman. Like, dude, I'm no longer the ideal candidate. Nope, you're not. I still hope find someone who, yeah, I mean, I'm sure she will find somebody. 40 years old, especially these days with technology increasing, we're able to have kids and later and later and later. But at the same time, she's going to have to probably compromise on who that person is. She's not going to be able to be picky like she could have been when she was younger. I understand the appeal without the constraints of marriage or children. So for me, the constraints of marriage, I do not like the idea of legal marriage in the United States. I think it's bullshit. I think that you can have a committed relationship and be in a committed relationship with each other and not be married legally and raise kids. That is, in my opinion, the ideal situation for men in these times. Do not get married legally. Avoid that shit, because eventually you probably are going to break up and or she's going to divorce your ass. So have the kids, stay committed, raise them, and that's that. And then if you ever need to part and go different ways, you can do that without all the bullshit of going through court and losing all your stuff and losing access to your kids. For many years, I was quite satisfied living that way. I know people can live happy, purpose-driven lives without these things. I don't want to be blah, 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 blah. Forever person, hoping he's looking for me too. Okay. Anyways, so this is just a great story, and I think a great warning going out there to women who, are maybe in that position where they're in their mid-20s or whatever now, right? They're in their mid-20s, maybe they're getting up to 30, and they are still following this whole career thing. You're probably going to want to have kids before it's too late. And so take this into account. And I think back in the olden days, or the older days, probably the fabric of society encouraged you, have kids now while you're in your younger years, because it was just a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer, and everybody knew that that was an important part of life. Now everything's so self-centered. You've got everybody on social media trying to compete and have the most money and the best career and highest status, that now, and plus feminism pushing the agenda, and the government helping push women in this direction, and then there being no community or no fabric of society backing that up and saying, hey, you should have kids now. All these women are just going to end up basically in the same scenario. A lot of women are going to end up in that same scenario, and it's just sad. On the other end of the spectrum, there's the lesson for men, which is stick to what you want. Do not compromise on core values. I'm not saying you can't compromise some things within the relationship in terms of, little petty things. But if you have a core value, like you want kids and you want to have a stay-at-home wife, and she doesn't want kids and she wants to go have a career, let her go, dude. Let her go. Let her go do what she wants to do and go find someone else. Because there are plenty of other women out there, and even though you might be really attached to her, it's not going to work. Nothing's going to work. This story shows exactly what's going to happen if you continue down that path where both of you are not aligned. It's just going to end in divorce. It's just going to end with her breaking up with you. It's just going to end up with her going and finding another guy. So don't make that mistake. Families with children. Now, this is the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics. I just want to go through here and just show you really quick. Just so that people know, because in a lot of the comments on that other video, the original video that we watched, I saw a lot of women going, oh, well, I've had a professional career and you can do both. You can do both, blah, blah, blah. So I just want to highlight this section right here. So at least one parent was employed in 91% of families with children, up from 89% in 2021, and a little different from the 2019 value of 91.4%. So basically 90 plus percent of families that have children, one of the parents is working. So that's kind of a no-brainer, right? But among married couple families with children, okay, 97% had at least one employed parent in 2022, and 65% of these families, both parents were employed. So 65% of families who are married, who have children, both parents are working in 2022. So the reason I bring that up, and the reason why I'm saying 65% of these families, both parents are employed, because it just shows how rough the economy is, that the majority of families with children, the mom is not staying at home. The mom cannot stay home, can't afford to stay home. It's only like 35% of married couples who have families are able for one of the parents to stay home. So basically 2/3 of families with kids, both parents are working. That's a majority of people. So a lot of times you may not have the privilege or benefit of being able to have a stay-at-home parent. That doesn't mean that you can't have kids though. It's not ideal, obviously, for just throwing them into daycare. But the majority of people in the United States do have both people working just because the economy is so bad. And this is a big problem why people aren't having kids. Because both parents within the family have to be working full time in order to actually do it. And for some people, it's just not worth it.